The One Micronesia Podcast is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
One. Hot for day, guys, and we're back with another episode of the One Micronesia Podcast. Remember, this podcast is being brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together. All right, so speaking of bringing everybody together, I think, this podcast and these two couples who I'm about to talk to are literally doing the same thing, are bringing people together. When we talk about Micronesians abroad, trying to make connections and bring our community closer and closer together, these guys are at the forefront of it, doing it every single day, every single week, Tuesday, Thursday. We'll talk about that coming up. But ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podcast today. I do have with me Kiruu and Shiro Kanai, all the way out in the States. Half a day, guys.
Half a day. Ali.
Ali.
Sending love from Cali.
Awesome. So, guys, thank you so much. I know the time difference is a big thing right now. We're talking, it's afternoon here, but it's almost midnight there in the States. So I thank you guys so much for taking the time. You guys look fresh. You guys look like it's already morning over there already.
I know, we gotta stay ready.
Right.
And we just got off work.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. And again, thank you.
You gotta stay hustling.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Stay motivated.
Hit that hot shower so you can revive and steam.
But that's good. That's amazing. Thank you guys so much for coming on the podcast here, just to talk about what you guys do, which is amazing. And I've been highlighting the different things that we all have been doing, even especially during this pandemic, to keep the vibes alive, to keep people, talking and to spread the positive vibes. And you guys are doing it. So we're going to talk about what that is coming up in a little bit. But, for the people watching the podcast right now, maybe they don't really know you two as individuals, but they know something that you do. You guys also run the page called 680 Movement. So ladies and gentlemen, if you follow them on Facebook and Instagram and other social media platforms, that's them. These are the two individuals behind behind the page. And guys, that is just amazing. So let's start with getting to know you guys. The people watching the podcast here, they want to now they're like, oh, no way. It's
right.
Keeks and it's B-Folk running this page. I didn't know. Well, now you do. So let's get to know you guys.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you guys just a little bit. How it all started for you guys. When were you guys born and raised there in the States? How's things going? Stuff like that. Let's start there.
Mm-hmm. All right, you want to go first?
Yeah, no, you go ahead.
Hi guys. Ali. My name's Kiruu, and I was born in Hawaii actually. Kapiolani Children's Hospital, if you know where that at. And I was born in Hawaii. My parents moved us out to San Leandro, California. Sorry, that's the neighbor's dog. They moved us out to San Leandro, California, where we lived and I attended elementary school when I was 10. They moved us back to the island because my parents had a dream to open up their burger stand that's called Bemmerme Burgers and Fries.
So if you've
Shout
had
out
it,
to all, the long-term customers of Bemmerme.
Wow.
So they moved us back and then we started Bemmerme. That's my humble beginnings. I started working since I was 7th grade. Working for my parents, and minimum wage is pretty low back there. So because I was living under their roof, utilities was paid $1.50 was all right. But besides that, they're definitely part of that inspiration for me to pursue art and stuff like that, because I was always interested in music and entertainment, performing arts and stuff like that. But growing up stateside and then moving back, I got culture shock, and that was also what pushed me to learn Palawan and learn more about my culture. And then I ended up getting into, dance competitions with my sisters. Shout out to my Ngursum sisters, my Ngurum Star sisters. I don't know if anybody on Guam, if you see this, shout out to y'all. But we ended up winning OBF one of these years. I think it was like 2009. And we won overall. And we ended up flying to represent Palau. We flew to Guam to participate in that Micronesian fair. That's why I was kind of asking you about that earlier.
Oh,
That's still a thing. Yeah. So long story short, ended up coming out here for school after I finished PCC. I got my AS in IT. I came out here and attended Academy of Art University, where I got, real handle on digital graphics, because I wasn't really drawing like that. I can put stuff together with my hands, but I wasn't the one that was gonna go and like just draw in a sketch pad. Watercolor paints, cool, but going to San Francisco and that really like pushed me to test the waters in different areas. And ever since then, I feel like everything was digital anyway. So I was like, okay, there's other ways I can learn.
Heading towards that.
Yeah. So born in Hawaii, raised in the States, went to Palau, and now I'm back. And we crossed paths, and here we are.
But so I moved to the States when I was 16. I went to high school out there in Arlington, and I was like the only Micronesian, and there was like 2 other Samoans. So we were like 3 islanders in the school. So so that helped with me speaking English. So like I picked up
total
more.
Opposites, yeah.
Yeah, because like I was like straight fresh off the boat when I came to the States. So like I was lost. I was like, but like just being around people and then like opening up to their culture and like how do they think and how they see things, that opened me up to like doing music. But to bring it back a little bit, back home, growing up, if you know Kiruu and Kanai, that's the big sis that we looked up to. So she's like who we like.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Shout out
the
to Kiruu, man.
motivation and inspiration. And that's the big sis right there.
Man, I feel like this episode just like opened up more, talking about
it's a lot of connections to it.
You two come from literally 2 big, you represent 2 big institutions or individuals or groups or in Palau. You talk about Keeks, you talk about Betmermi, which is, we talked about how amazing that burger is, and became something that is Palau, that burger. But I think it's also the fan base and the support system of that goes into it, and people would go there and eat it to represent. And then
exactly.
Folk, I didn't know you're a legend.
Yeah,
in like music. Oh my god, man! I didn't know. Like honestly, this it's more like it's more of me watching you guys talk, because now I'm learning all about this. Wow.
And thank you, because this is our like first actual interview. So thank you for being the first to do it. We're very humbled.
I had to turn the tables around, because I was like, oh yeah, my turn. Now it's my turn.
I was like, oh,
oh man, I should have.
That's funny. But so growing up, we always see her do her thing, and then my brother and all my siblings, they all play instruments and they all sing. I'm the only one that doesn't play an instrument. And then like I was the youngest of all like the cousins and the siblings. So like while they did the singing part, I was like, how do I stand out from the family line? So like I kind of head towards hip hop, because like I feel like it was my generation's time, and hip hop music was like more of like. But when I started hip hop, it was not really accepted back home because it was still early. It was like 07, 06. So like I kind of paused on it, and then I didn't do it. I just did it around my like classmates and friends, like my American friends. And then like 2011 is when I kind of picked it up, because all my cousins around me kept telling me like, bro, you need to like take it to the next level. Like these Falan parties are cool, but like you need to take it to the studios, to the stages, and try to perform. So like I met a group, it's called the Texas Boys, TXB for short. And they, it was like a group of 3, and they all produced their own music and all recorded. They had their little studio. So I ended up linking up with them. And then that's when I really fell in love with the music, making music and all of that, because it kind of just brought me back to my childhood days, watching like Big Sis Birian and all the family doing their thing. Because back home, I was only like carrying the wires. Like I just knew how to roll them up and then unfold them and plug them in. That's about it.
The muscle.
But yeah.
That's amazing. That's beautiful. Your stories, both your stories, with Keeks, B-Folk, the size of the family, the business, the legacy that you have to live up to. That's amazing. Talk about, I just came on here to talk about 680, which we're going to talk about coming up after the break. But just this part of the interview is just amazing. And I hope people watching this are intrigued and interested and want to go out and get to know you guys and get to know the brand and get to know what you guys want or are trying to do, especially when it comes to the movement and trying to spread positive vibes. Guys, we're gonna take a quick break. But when we come back, like I said, we're gonna talk about 680 because this is pretty much you met and then you created this whole network and community that's surrounding you guys. So we're gonna talk about that. That's coming up after this. Hafide and Eileen, welcome back to the One Micronesia Podcast. And we're here again. We're still talking to the two couples who's behind a 680 movement, the page we learned about. We learned a whole lot about what themselves individually and as a couple and what they've done and the experiences they went through from Palau to the States or from the States back to Palau and back and forth. We learned the two sides of their family and how significant a role they play in Palauan history. You talk about music, you talk about an industry, a food industry. Their family has been there. So we learned a lot in that first part of the interview. And now we get down to business. We get down to talk about the big the platform that they've created. I'm talking about 680 Movements, and we're back here with Keeks and B Folk of 680 Movement. Guys, again, thank you so much for taking the time. Let's start there. Like 680 Movements, when did it start? The idea? Tell me the story.
So I would say that he already had like the name for it, right? 680 Movement. And when we crossed paths, we spent a year just talking, no strings attached, no expectations, just business. Working on ourselves a year apart, and then just talking about, okay, this is what we want to do. So it started off with me creating a logo for him, and then he kind of like, oh, this is what I want 680 in it. I decided to put the acronym of MVMT, and just as a collective, our motto, it became find purpose in your passion, because we both believe that we want to be able to, get up and do what we love. And sometimes it's not, a given where you're just doing that off the top. So we're doing the supplemental hustle, what we like to call, and, using that to fund what we want to do until it becomes a full-time thing. So 680 MVMT, we started the Facebook page up, and then next thing we launched a pop-up shop, which we did here in California. Shout out to Belaurigi, that's the Palauan Bay Area Club that put us on, let us do a little vendor booth, and that was the first of any vendor booth that they've ever had before that. They would sell like food and drinks, but nobody was selling merch. And so we did it. It kicked off. It was funny because when we went, we just brought like 50 shirts or 50 to 100 shirts, I think, like 5 or 10 of each size, and then 2 different designs. The main logo, which sorry, we've upgraded.
Here's one of my more recent designs, though.
Oh,
wow.
But we went with our original logo, and people really took to it. It was dope because it was kind of a test run. We had we had an idea, but we wanted to put it out and see if the people were gonna accept it. And they loved it, and then it just drove us to create the platform. When we launched, after we did that first pop-up shop, we ended up launching the online shop so we can fulfill orders.
Because we couldn't handle the
round the ways
shipping.
Yeah,
but so to touch up on that, so how 680 Movement began is like, so when I started doing the music scene, it's when I seen that there was like, everywhere I go, every studio I went to, there was like no Islander, especially down south, like around Dallas. There was no Islander. There was no like Palauan. And I knew like a lot of my cousins are so talented. Like they make beats off of the keyboard and they sing and all of that. So my thing was like, if they see me moving, representing 680 Movement, they might see it and be like, okay, there's a possibility we can get into this industry and start. So like, I seen that a lot of people are like me, like especially Islanders. It's like, it's so natural for us to do music and art. So I was like, okay. So I started putting in my music, 680 Movement. And then that was like a thing that caught on. So that's how we kind of, so like I strategically took steps to brand our 680 Movement. That's why we had promoted that logo first, for it to be like, when everybody sees it, they know, okay, this is that. Because even that, when everybody went with the 680 logo, like Palauans that lived in the same city didn't know there were Palauans there. But when they seen that shirt, they were like, wait, 680? What is that? And they're like, oh, yeah, they're Palauans. And they're like, oh, you're Palauan? Oh, snap. So like, it became really a movement. So we were like, oh, let's take off with it because we're really bringing everybody together. And that's kind of like the purpose of it.
That's amazing. I mean, you started as a clothing company and you guys talked about it, and for the longest time, Islander apparel was never, I mean, we wore so many billabongs, you name it.
Yeah, that's what
exactly.
We're so much, like we wear these things because we think if we wear it, we fit in. We're in the end of the day, we just put it on, but don't feel like we're showing pride for it because we don't even know about it. We just know that
it doesn't represent us.
Exactly. But nowadays and today, we're seeing all these brands pop up from Micronesia. You see 680, you see all these other Micronesian brands here on Guam. There's so much coming out.
Crowns.
A lot of people are wearing it. And then now in the States, you say, like you guys just talked about, you walk around and somebody you see a 680 moving t-shirt, like, oh my God. Oh, there's a Palawan living here. Oh my, we're not. I think that
or like this shirt right here. So he's a Chamorro, Chamorro homeboy. You know what I'm saying? So it's Island Lifer. So when they see Island Lifer, they're like, "Well, are you Islander?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this is my Chamorro bro shirt." You know what I'm saying? So it's Sticks and Stones. So if you don't know, go check them out on Instagram.
Sticks and Stones International.
And let's talk about it. T-Talks, and then now we're gonna get down. Like I said, you guys started as a clothing brand, and then you both had your passion. Keeks, you had a passion in graphic design. B, you had a passion in music. Smash it together, and then now you went from clothing to slowly with some music out there, and then and then with the T-Talks, that's just bringing people together. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of the feedback that you guys got.
Honestly, it's always love. So shout out to everybody who's shown love, whether you're Micronesian, Palawan, whether you're stateside or on island somewhere in the Micronesian region. Shout out to them because they motivate us to continue to reach out and find
promote
other people.
Right. That's our main goal is really promoting others. Yeah. Because like one of our mentors told us, if the people don't know, they can't support. So like a lot of the comments, people are like, we're thankful that you guys are doing this because we never knew. Like Madlock, they make dolls. They make like the dolls. Nobody knew they make dolls. So like they were like, man, now I can get my kids some dolls and like throw away all this G.I. Joe. I was like, okay, for sure. So like that's a good, like one of the best feedback is like now they know where to go.
A lot of people were asking to bring it to Facebook, and we were like weighing it out. Should we not? And it's because of the OGs, a lot of the older generation, the aunties and the uncles that want to tune in. So shout out to them too because they're trying. They want to know. And then a lot of the people we're bringing on, they're of our generation right now, if not younger, because we're out here. There's a lot of individuals doing great things, and it's been awesome.
So we put together a street team to help us work the algorithms because us together posting is like crazy because we still got a 9 to 5 and all of this. So that's how we make it work. Is teamwork. That's really how it's not really just the two of us. There's like more people behind us that's helping us putting it out there for people to see it. And then,
wow, that's beautiful. And you talk about using something that people tend to forget. It's called the family system. You use the family support system and you use it to the fullest. They helped out because they're not getting paid for it. They're doing it out of love. And look at how the algorithm has definitely worked out for you guys as well. That's beautiful. It's been awesome. 680 is definitely on a roll, that's for sure. When we come back, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we'll definitely talk about what people can expect. First, before we get to we're going to talk about a little single that's out in the digital world called Dreams. We'll talk about that and what people can expect out of 680 Movements after this break. Remember, you're watching the One Micronesia Podcast. It's being brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Hafide and Ali and Mogisin, and welcome back to the One Micronesia Podcast, being brought to you by Docomo Pacific. We're back here. We're almost done, but we got to find out what people can expect. 680 movement. We've learned about the story individually, Keeks and B Folk. Now we learned about how it all started. 680 movement, the different stages that they had to go to build this community, build this platform, and now we're going to talk about. Before we get to talk about what people can expect, you talk about a single. I told you guys about this single that's out and about in the digital world. It's everywhere you can find music. It's there. I'm talking about Keeks' single called Dreams.
Yay.
Take it away. Let's talk about this song. It's out and about. How did it all come about? I saw the video. It was beautiful. You started with you talking to your mom. That's amazing. Let's talk about it.
Yes. So little backstory, because growing up, I went through some things, kind of got bullied. I wouldn't say I got bullied. One, because, I was raised in the States. My first language was English. So when I went to Palau, I was, really, it pushed me to grow out of my shell and really embrace the language. So when I was frustrated, when I had those moments, instead of lashing out or doing something crazy, I would just write. I'm always writing poems. And oh my gosh, I don't know why I'm getting all emotional now. That's not my mom's side. But I would write stuff down, right? And my mom would always tell me, you should write, you should make your own song. You should do your own music video, because I would write these things down and I'll read them to her and stuff, put them away. I have like journals back on the island, stashed somewhere. And when I linked up with Shiro, he was doing his music. He would definitely be down for me to like join him on stage and be the hype woman and do the backup.
I knew she had it, so I was like, I'm bringing you on stage every time.
Yes.
So she does my hooks and all that. So
yeah. And I was like, I don't want to sing. If I'm gonna sing in front of anybody, I want to sing my own stuff. So this past year, actually it's 2 years in the works. He's been pushing me to like really. He gave me some beats. He's like, here, this is from a Falan producer, Rock Island Beats. Shout out to him. And, listen to it, write stuff down, and, let's see where it goes. And my first, full song was Dreams. It's dedicated to my mom and my dad. But a lot of the first verse is like just stuff that my mom would say, that got me through those tough moments, always trust in God, believe in yourself, and the one of those things that stuck up until now is that you have to love yourself before you can love somebody else. Yeah. So started with Dreams, but I did just drop my EP called Dreams. So there's a collective of songs that you can check out on all digital platforms, YouTube. And we also made it available on SoundCloud, because we're not doing the music for money. It's more like a passion.
Guys, that's amazing. So that's the music part. What else can people expect from 680 Movement?
Yep. So June 12th, if you're in California, and you can make it out to San Mateo County Fairgrounds, there's a festival. It's called Pacific Island Day, and we're going to be performing on that event. It's 12:30 to 1. It's a 30-minute set. Come check us out if you can. If you want some more information, you can hit us up on IG. But we're going to be doing a live show. It'll be the first live show since the last one.
Wow. 680 Movement, ladies and gentlemen, making moves. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to hear the last couple words, the last comments, stuff like that, social media handles where you can find them. So when we come back after this, you're watching the One Micronesia Podcast, being brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Hafide, Ali, and Mogisin. And we're back for the last part of the One Micronesia Podcast. Remember, this podcast is being brought to you by Docomo Pacific. So let's get down to it. The last part of the podcast. So you already know what it is. It's time for last comments, social media handles. So let's start with the comments. Or what would you guys have? Messages for, your fan base who've been following you since day one, or people who just jumped on just recently. What are you watching right now? What message do you have for them?
Man, find purpose in your passion. And first and foremost, I would say, because a lot of the times we kind of get stuck in a routine of just doing something because we think we have to. Yeah. or because we don't see any other way out, and then end up, 20 years later down the road, you're like, oh, I wish I did this, or you see somebody else getting it and you're like, oh yeah, I could have done that, but this, that. And then what's the point? If there's anything, I feel like we should be living to our full potential. So why hold yourself back? And yeah.
And one thing I would say is it's on the other side of fear. You know what I'm saying? So whatever you want to do, it's on the other side of fear, because that fear is going to keep you from doing it. Once you step over that line that you fear, you're going to find out it's way easier from there. So yeah, whatever you do, it's on the other side of fear. You know what I'm saying? And also fear God too. That's one thing we try to talk about too, is like we keep our faith and fear nothing but God. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you give thanks, and make sure you thank Him every day for giving you all the things that you can use, you know what I'm saying, to keep everything going. Because really everything that came together is really on our faith too. Because we've been through a lot. Like there's a lot of
downfalls. We had a power check,
you know. Like
what
God,
you
see on social media
give
is
me
just
a sign,
part.
and then God 3 signs for you. And so that's really when we took faith. 680 MVMT to the next level and changed our lives. So God first, man. If you don't know, He knows.
Yeah. And then one more thing.
On his time.
One more thing that our mentor used to say is maximize life. So like anything you do, try to maximize it. Try to add that one more hour to it. Like if you're running, add that one more lap to it. Add that one extra just to maximize it. And next thing you know, you're already hitting your goals because you're always maximizing it. So like that's one thing he always told us, and that's one thing like we really want to push out, and then people know too, is always maximize.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you guys. What a beautiful message from both of you to people watching right now. Maybe they're just jumping on right now to becoming a fan or to becoming a supporter of the movement or 680 movement. Man, that's beautiful. Guys, before we close out, where can people, if they're watching right now, they haven't even gone to the page, they don't know the YouTube, the Facebook, the Instagram, where can people find you guys and 680 movement?
You can find us at 680 MVMT, but on IG, it's 680 MVMT. That's the main part of our logo. You can also follow me at Keek680.
And then me at Bfolk Music 680 or at Belawan Records 680. And that's Belawan with a O-N-E. And then you can follow Toph_23, right? Toph_23 680.
And yes, all of our merch is available online at 680movement.com. All spell it out. And we have a discount going on, so you can just enter DREAMS, the promo code, and get free shipping, y'all. We ship everywhere, even Guam.
There you go. Guys, thank you so much. Like I said, I had a blast. We came into this interview and I was just looking at just learning about 680 movements. But before I even got to 680 movement, I learned about both of you individually, your families, the legacy that comes behind each of your names. It's just like, I was like mind blowing. But it's talks like this that creates bigger things, and I hope people who watch this podcast and go on to watch your interviews, will begin to get that idea of what we're trying to do is trying to connect our islands, through social media, so that way, at the end, man, we're all we got, pretty much.
Right, exactly. And thank you, man, for doing this, because at the end of the day, it's like, there's things that people aren't, they're just going to see the end result, and not know how we got there. And you gave us this opportunity.
Thank you, Sulang Kamar, for the time that you've shared with me here on the podcast. And guys, wow, that pretty much wraps up another episode of the One Micronesia Podcast. It's being brought to you by Docomo Pacific, better together. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.
The One Micronesia Podcast is brought to you by Docomo Pacific, better together.